Welcome back, friends. And today we're going to talk about something that every farmer and rancher out there has thought about. What are we really passing down to the next generation? And guess what? Here's the spoiler. I'm going to give it to you right now. If it's just land and debt, we've completely missed the mark. Today we're going to talk about something that's it's kind of tough when you really get to looking at it. When I look at agriculture, I see cycles. There's cycles of debt, there's cycles of stress, cycles of silence, there's market cycles. And too many times the farm passes down, but so do the struggles. So not only do we pass down the farm, but we also send its struggles to the next generation. Is that what you want your legacy to be? Let's look at the generational cycles. Financial management. Every generation is different in the way that they manage finances. We've seen this over and over again, some good, some bad. The other thing that we see that every generation handles different is relationships. We all know, there's some folks that just seem bitter. There's something deep that's tearing them apart. And I think a lot of it goes back to this emotional silence that a lot of generations have had. What has that caused? It's caused them not to show up for their kids. It's caused them not to show up for their wife. And what do? They bury into their work and they continue that negative loop of burying into the work. The thing is there's some trauma, something that they're carrying, and it could be a conversation they had with their dad when they were, 15, and they've got that chip on their shoulder and they've never been able to get that gone, and it carries to the next generation. And when I guarantee you, if you go back and you talk to your dad, there's something that went on like that with your grandfather. We've seen this over and over again. We look at business structure, like what's set up. What are we kind of looking at? Granddad had you set up. Your dad worked for him, all the way until he was in his mid-50s to 60s. Everything was based on a handshake deal, and it's fine. You're dealing with family. You trust and you love family. But when money gets involved, and not just little money, we're talking big money, and with poor financial management, a lot of times the farm or the ranch is at jeopardy of making it to the next generation. Without having a proper succession plan in place, we leave ourselves at risk. We continue to do this generation after generation after generation, and we ask more and more until you're the son or the daughter that's working for nothing. You're working for $10,000 a year with a hope and a prayer that you will be able to have the farm or the ranch at some point in time. That's a poor business structure. And I promise you, that's another one of those generational cycles that continues to ebb and flow as we look at it. So how do we break that? How do we break that? That heaviness that so many of you are carrying, you got to deal with it. You got to deal with your stuff. How do you deal with it? There's groups. There's therapy. Yeah, I said it. There's therapy. And I know there's a big movement out there. Yeah, you can deal with your own stuff. Well, obviously, you've proven that you cannot. And I'm going to tell you, I've seen grown men go to therapy and come out a totally different person. Yeah, there comes a point where you need to deal with your crap. Otherwise, it's going to filter down to the next generation, and we cannot have that. You have got to take care of business now and stop waiting. Show up for your kids. You have a finite amount of time to be an impression on your children. Don't be the father that's not a leader. They don't need to be scared of you. You need to be the guy that's around. You need to be the guy that they can count on. And being around doesn't mean sitting at home. You can still work. You can still teach. You can still lead. That is the piece that you've got to find. And at the end of it, the stress. Everything that you have set here and you've built, it's an asset. I've seen more kids look at farms and they remember the stresses that mom and dad went through to try to get that thing paid for. And they remember the lack of presence, that they actually resent the farm or the ranch because you weren't around. They appreciate all your hard work, but more than anything, it isn't the millions of dollars. It's just you being there as a parent. That means more than anything you can give them. They need your leadership. So the next phase is structuring your business. You've got to get it done right. Get your entities in place. Understand the taxes. Have your estate plans actually written down. What happens if you don't? I mean, these are the things that you've got to kind of think about. Like, maybe you're not always going to be around. Are you going to leave a mess like granddad left a mess to your dad, to the same way that your dad has left a mess to you? We love them, but God bless them. They did not take care of business in those sense. It was not a priority. I really want to paint a scenario for you. These are real life scenarios that have happened. A farmer or rancher dies unexpectedly. The wife, she's a stay-at-home mom. She's raising the kids. Maybe they're homeschooling. She delivers meals. She hauls diesel. She gets parts. She does all of this for the farm. Her life, everything is for the farm or the ranch. There's no W-2 income coming in. And guess what? There's no life insurance either. Why? It wasn't a priority. It wasn't a priority, and yet we're worried about our legacy and what we're going to pass down. I've heard it over and over again. So you pass away, and your family's left scrambling. The land is tied up in debt. There's no liquidity. Your spouse, she literally has no security at all. No financial security. That's not caring for your family. That's leaving them in crisis. So what do some of our guys do in our network? Some of them, we advise, is life insurance is non-negotiable. You are a valuable commodity. You are working on your farm or ranch, and you are advising that. You see it, you understand it, you feel it. Again, that's that stress you're living in, that cycle. Get the life insurance. Let the farm pay for it. Guys, you waste more money running back and forth to town. You can afford a life insurance policy to protect in case something happens to you. Your entity structure. Actually have an operating agreement and have a succession plan, like what it's going to look like. If you're the only one listed on the LLC and the only one on the bank account, depending on the state you're in, your wife may not have access to anything within the business, and she's expected to keep everything going. What do you think is going to happen? I mean, if you truly love your family, take care of the paperwork, not just what's going on in the fields or the pasture. We know that you're good at what you do. We know. You don't have to tell us that. And I know it's easy to bury up in the day-to-day because we can be busy 7 days a week, 24/7. There's always something at the farm that you can improve on, fix, do that. But listen, you only have a finite amount of time. Nobody knows. We all have an expiration, but we don't know when that is. So take care of your business so that it will take care of your family. How good would it be if something happened to you that your wife did not have to stress? She could actually hire someone to come in and run the farm. I mean, how nice would that be? And while I'm at it, let's talk about survival in the business. When no one is going to come and save you. You know, here's a big point. I mean, farmers and ranchers, we all have to be a CFO, the CEO, and the foreman all at one time. So like, let's break down each one of those roles. You're like, man, Jonathan, my farm's too small. I'm the only employee. Well, look, that doesn't mean that these roles don't exist, because I want to go by each one of them so that you know and you understand why it's important that you identify this. So the CEO, Chief Executive Officer, that's your visionary. That's the person that's going to provide the leadership and the decision making. The CFO, Chief Financial Officer, that's your numbers guy. They're going to determine the risk profile for your business also. That could be crop insurance. That could be livestock risk protection. That's your physical insurance, you know, on your location, on your equipment, on all your assets. It's also life insurance. You need to look at that. And they're also the financial planner. The CFO is looking and future casting. What kind of profit potential are we looking at? You guys do this. I know you do. And out of that profit, how much are we going to divert to either other investments or a rainy day fund or building that cash position for whatever it is we're looking for? But those plans need to be in place. And lastly, the foreman. Now, you guys have got this one down. Okay? That's the day-to-day grind. That's the labor. That's the production. That's the one that's going to try to put as many bushels out there and do it as good and as fast and as clean and as neat and efficient as you possibly can. That every one of you have got figured out. It's those other two that you struggle. Here's a reality check. Nobody's going to ride in here with a bailout check for you. I mean, if you want to stay in the game, you've got to wear these three hats and do it well. Surround yourself with the right team that can cover those gaps. If you are not good at that, that is okay. This isn't about being overwhelmed. This is about ownership. I mean, no one cares about your farm or your ranch. Step into that responsibility fully. Own it. Your family's counting on you. They need it. I don't want you to just pass down land. I want you to pass down stability. That's what we're looking at. And I'm not saying that if you've got some land debt, you're in trouble and that you need to get out of farming. I'm not one of those that's going to tell you to exit the business. I'm not. I know those guys are out there, and that's what they're telling you. You have the right idea. You just haven't put all the pieces together. I want you to take care of your family financially, but also emotionally. Emotionally be there for your kids and your wife. Build them up. God put you as the leader of the household. Step into that role. You've got to own it. And you've got to accept that no one's going to come save you. No one. There's going to be some hard days, but you've got to be the leader. You got to step into that decision-making mode. Don't just keep your head down and work hard. We seem to know that word very well. I even see folks that get the ego of being the hardest worker in the room. That's great. We can scream that to the rooftops. Nobody cares. Everybody works hard. I want you to sit down this week, and I want you to take 3 steps. Call a professional about life insurance. I don't care who that is. Call them. Set up something. I know we've all seen Mary Jo Ehrman, Farming Without the Bank. She's got a lot of good that she offers in that. Visit with her. Visit with your local insurance agent. More Insurance Services focuses on agriculture. They're over here in Texas. There's some good people in ag that understand what farmers and ranchers go through. Call them. Visit with them. Figure out what works and what doesn't for your operation, and let the farm pay for that. And that is an expense. That's a cost of doing business. You guys put it on there. I want you to book some time with an attorney or an advisor, and I want you to get your structure, get your house in order. If you're sole prop, are you leaving money on the table? If you're operating in a general partnership, which a lot of folks are, do you have risk? And or with the new big, beautiful bill, is there a structure out there that would work better for you and not hurt you or your business? And I want you to sit down at the kitchen table. I want you to have an honest conversation with your spouse and your kids about the future of the farm or the ranch. Don't mix words. I want you to be clear, and I want you to be concise, and I want you to hear. There comes a point in this conversation in which I want you to listen to what they want and what they need. Land is valuable, but the greatest legacy is a healthy family and a ranch or a farm that is set up to last. Don't leave it to chance. Don't risk everything. Take the reins now and do what you need to do. So be good or be good at it.